Live, a casual take hosted by your boy Steven Pepper here to casually talk sports. All right, let's just get right into it, guys. All right, can we just stop pushing the Jayson Tatum for MVP agenda? Guys, come on. The Celtics blew a 22 fourth quarter lead to the Donovan Mitchell-less Cleveland Cavaliers. And where was Tatum while this was happening? A complete no-show. We went 1 for 11 in the second half. And this isn't just a one-off, by the way, me nitpicking, because last game on Sunday primetime, he scored his first bucket when his team was up 20 against the red-hot Warriors. I mean, my God, he is just holding on for dear life to the whole best player on best team thing that everyone like Stephen A. Smith has been pushing recently. And let me tell you something, that is just not moving me. Celtics fans, bro, Celtics fans, you guys are just sad, bro. I saw y'all on Twitter during halftime when Tatum had 22 points. You guys were beating your chest, saying, this is the MVP. Timeline's real quiet. Where's the Tatum haters now? Listen, Joey from Boston, the Tatum discourse, this might be hard for you to understand. It's only disrespectful in your eyes because you see Tatum as a tier 1 player. The reality is Tatum isn't good enough. That's why he doesn't get the same praise as Giannis, Luka, Jokic, etc. He's a tier 2 player. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with being a tier 2 player. You're still There's nothing wrong with being a tier 2 player. You're still a superstar. But to be an MVP, to be a tier 1 player, you need to, on a night-to-night basis, dominate the game. And that's something that Tatum, he just doesn't do consistently like the guys, and he proved it last night. He just doesn't do it consistently like the guys I just mentioned. And I know I'm coming across as anti-Tatum. I wouldn't say I'm like an anti-Tatum person. I really not. I mean, I'm being a little anti-Tatum right now for the sake of this argument because I don't think he's like a tier 1 player. But I'm a huge Tatum defender. If you just watch old clips from the pod, I've defended Tatum. I think he is a top 10 player. I've gone through battles for Jayson Tatum because I think I rank him a bit higher. Not as high as people from Boston, like Joey from Boston. But, you know, not the average fan doesn't rank him as high as I do. I went on the panel last week. Shout out to the panel. Shout out Players' Choice. Said Jayson Tatum's like anywhere from 6 to 9. I think he's a top 10 player, not tier 1. I'm not saying he can't be a tier 1 player. He's only 26 years old. And I think if he goes on a playoff run this year and wins a championship, I'll be the first person to put Jayson Tatum as a tier 1 player. But as of right now, what's the date? March 6th of 2023. Seeing this dude go 1 for 11 in the second half. He's a tier 2 player, which is not anything bad. I said that's a superstar tier, not tier 1, which is the best of the best, MVP. But tier 2, guys like Kawhi, KD, AD, kind of where LeBron is right now. Nothing wrong with being tier 2. Tatum's a great basketball player, but just isn't tier 1. And last night was rough. How can you not watch last night, and even on Sunday when he was not scoring until late when they were already at 50, that you just saw a Jayson Tatum that you get on once every other day? Or one day when he's hitting his threes, he looks like one of the best, like the 5 best basketball players on the planet. He also gives you some rebounding, some defense, some playmaking. And then when he's coming down the court, clanking mid-ranges, clanking threes like he was. And last night he's had a lot of games like that this season. It's not good. And the Celtics lose. So I'm sorry, I just clicked on my browser. I'm very pro Tatum. I am. I think he can be a tier 1 player. But whenever someone says to you that it's disrespectful that Jayson Tatum isn't in the MVP conversation because he's the best player in the best team, averaging 27 points a game, it's only disrespectful if you think Tatum is that player. Because the reality is he just isn't that player. And if you just accept that Tatum isn't good enough, and when I say he's not good enough, I'm not saying he's a bum, but if you accept that he's like a tier 2 player, not an MVP player, and doesn't have a real argument to be a leading MVP candidate, then you'll understand a lot of the criticisms. I'm not saying every criticism against Tatum is valid because there are people who rank Tatum like 13 in the league, which I think is dumb, but he is not a leading MVP candidate. If he was, he would have stopped the bleeding last night. Where was he when the Celtics were up 22 points in the fourth quarter? A lot of those points were caused not by him. He scored 4 points in the second half, 1 for 11, didn't stop any of the bleeding. Let Dean Wade completely take over the game. Dean Wade took over the game. And Tatum wasn't there. He has no case to me to be the MVP. Let's stop it today. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this back-to-back episode. Yo, W some casual takes in the chat. Back-to-back episodes for the A Casual Take. Speaking of some casual takes, that's my name for everything on social media. Go ahead and drop a follow, turn on notifications, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, where I go live to stay updated on all things related to the show. And until next show, I'll see y'all.